What's up, people? We haven't been live in a while. I just realized it's been like a darn month.
Yeah, close to a month, I think.
Yeah, since we've done this thing here. I haven't done this. I feel like I'm missing something here. I'm missing out on something. Well, we haven't done our Friday live stream, so I haven't gotten my rants out. That's why I got to start ranting on something.
You've been saving them all up for the past month or so.
What was I yelling about earlier today? Oh, something about baby seats. These stupid, baby seats, how they have this, the ones that get like the mom ratings about, how long they're going to last or what their freaking expiration date on nylon and plastic is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And then you just have the ones who like to cut the seat and all that crap. So anyway, I'm not going to start with a rant. Let's take it easy on this.
And we've had that rant before. Yeah, people telling us that all the rules in government mandated expiration dates.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Government can suck it. It's stupid.
That's today's T-shirt idea. Government can suck it.
I follow like logic, not stupidity. So whatever. Let's not get me in trouble here the first 3 minutes of the thing. Oh boy.
All right, so let's see. We have pretty good. We got 117 people already, so that's good.
Yeah.
Our buddy Dan from Minnesota checking in. UPS messed up his order, so he's gonna contact Kyle to get that all sorted out. Let's see. I have a couple questions here. This actually popped up in Facebook as well. The new IK sprayers. Have you seen those? Have you used those?
I don't think they actually exist. I think it was just like a photo of the potential sprayer. I don't know. I just take one look at it and it doesn't look so hot. The sprayer, the bottle looks pretty awesome, but the sprayer looks like junk. So I don't know, but I haven't. All I saw was like Rag Company's, photo on their group, their podcast group, their closed group. Yeah, I mean the bottles look pretty cool. And it's just a question whether the sprayers are any good. But that's good news. I mean, shoot, I'm all for. I had actually talked to them about that before I'd gotten the sprayers and punted them in the woods, the pump sprayers, and I said, what we need is an awesome sprayer and an awesome bottle. So that's good news. It'd be freaking sweet if I could solve my problem and I can just buy those.
If we didn't have to import them from across the world.
Well, they'd still be imported, but we could just work with the Rag Company and buy them from them.
Let's see. Here's a good question from Jason in the chat here. What's been the general response to your Inside the Hex video regarding your leaving wealth management? Have you had much feedback?
Yeah, I mean, I got several emails from people. If you're not familiar, I told the story, which is a bit sensitive, legally and all of that. So I'm technically, my 2-year non-compete, my 2-year, keep your mouth shut contract is over. And so I talk about it on my private forum, the Inside the Hex, and just sort of tell the story of wealth management. It was actually locked out at the end of it. Michelle had called, and I just left the speaker phone on. She didn't know she was getting recorded. And so it was probably more value at the end of it than me, taking you through start to finish the story. But it's a couple hours of me discussing my exit, and it's the story is very, very different. 2 years later, if I would have told the story 2 months, and then 6 months, and then 12 months after leaving, it would have been different each time with a lot more anger. But now it makes a lot of sense, and I'm super grateful that. That kind of happened where they walked me out the door. And so it was both voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary in that I could have fought and taken my practice elsewhere and said, screw you. But involuntary in that they made the choice for me and walked me out the door. So you'll have to go into the Inside the Hex to hear that story. And I'm clean and clear from that whole thing, from the whole contracts and negotiations and all of that stuff. So June of this year, of last month was the end of my last sort of cycle. So I'm out. My licenses should be expiring here soon, and we should go. I was thinking about having a bonfire with my CFP and my Sema and CHFC and all of that. It'd be kind of fun to light it on fire with some tannerite or something like that. Just go blow it up.
This may apply to you or to Bryce. We'll find out the truth here. Shout out to Matt's prowess in the close-ups in the Milwaukee Tools videos. He's clearly attended the Derek Zoolander School of Hand Modeling. So are those your hands or are those Bryce's?
I don't know. Yeah, they're not mine in any of the close-ups.
Baby hands.
Yeah, not my broken down, beat up hands. From I've been on a serious workout cycle.
Yeah, how's it going?
I'm back at. Haven't lost a freaking pound, but man, I'm getting in shape. Yeah, I still wouldn't call myself in shape, but I'm getting stronger and more fit, and now I just gotta freaking lose 30 pounds. Then I'll be a beast. So yeah, it's happening. I'm 7 weeks in straight, going 4, 5, 6 days a week.
Gym and the bike too. Doing the bike.
Yep.
The bike.
Oh, I wiped out. Like my thumb. It's finally come back, but I ate it pretty bad on Saturday. Hit a root. It was coming. We're doing a pretty probably the most aggressive blues in blue. At Santos, it's yellow, blue, and red. Red through drops and stuff like that, which I'm not doing. But there's some pretty aggressive terrain, like rocky terrain we were doing. And I come on, to make it's like a hard right turn, and I just, if you lose concentration out there, you're going to eat it. And so, I'm moving a pretty decent clip, and my front tire hit a root, and then as it grabbed the rock underneath it, just kind of shot out, and then I just kept going. My body kept going. The bike went that way, and I went that way. So I jacked, my whole legs all scratched and bruised up. My thumb smashed on the gear lever, the shifter, so much to the point I had to loosen the shifter and bring it back up. I thought I broke my thumb. And it was good. My bike got all scratched up, but that's part of the game.
All right, let's see. Speaking of your bike, Kevin on Facebook had a question about it. Recently got a carbon fiber road bike with a matte finish. What would you recommend to clean and protect it? I'm not really interested in coating it, just maybe a detail spray or something to keep it clean, looking good.
Yeah, you could spray any kind of one of these bullcrap ceramic sprays on it if you wanted to. I wouldn't. Bead maker isn't something I'd choose because it doesn't last very long. So choose like I'd probably put something like the McGuire's hybrid, whatever the stupid name they came up for, hybrid ceramic wax 7.0 or something. So pick one of those things and put it on there. But again, if it was me, if I bought a carbon bike, I'd coat the darn thing. It'd take you 15 minutes to coat it. I'd put CSL on it, EXO, and then your bike will. Then all you have to do is really just slightly agitate it, and half the time I just blow the thing off, with the pressure washer. So that's what I would do.
That was the second part of his question. What's your maintenance wash on your Yeti look like?
Yeah, what I'll generally do is just spray some like all-purpose cleaner on the on like your chain and stuff like that. What really interests me, something that I haven't done, but waxing your chain is something that you could do, which is really interesting because then you don't get all the caked on gunk, that builds up. I haven't actually done it, but that is something that really interests me, where you wax your chain after every, half a dozen rides. So it's a lot of work, but I do a lot of work when I'm, with my cars. I don't know, the bike to me, I don't tend to care for it quite as much as I do my car. But generally I'll just spray down with all-purpose cleaner, and then I'll just foam it with, with Adam's soap, and then just, use my wheel mitt and just kind of wipe it off. I'll usually grab an old Tough Shine brush and just kind of agitate the chain and clean it up that way. And then your bike, if it's coated, you can pretty much just blow it off with the leaf blower and get it like 99% dry. That's what I usually do.
All right, we have Alex checking in from the UK. He says, "Hey, gents from the UK, any idea how long until the Ego blower attachment will be available and the PF22 funnel? Love these products."
The funnel's much sooner than that. The Ego stuff. I know that David sent me a text this morning that he's got 10 different contract manufacturers that he's sort of interviewing. But that's a year away. It's not anywhere soon. It's going to be a while. Maybe not a year away, but it's not anytime soon coming out with that thing.
And then the funnel, you shared the feedback with the guys about that.
Yeah, I asked them if we can make it a little taller. They're in their busier season, so they don't have as much time to be fumbling around. But it's cool. I like it. I think it's a neat little thing. This is a funnel for the quick disconnect on the PF22 foam cannon, and it snaps in place. And then the problem with the hole is our limiting factor on the PF22 bottle, and so Adam's soap is so thick. And so you just pour it in the funnel. And so what I wanted was a demarcation, 150 milliliters on the like a little line or something, or just make the funnel exactly 150 milliliters, and then you could just fill in, put the soap in, fill it up to the line, and let it drain while you're getting your sponge or your wash pad and all that stuff set up. So that's something I asked for. So we'll see.
And on those same lines, the quick disconnects for the PF22 are coming in. We have a bunch of them coming in next week. We've been waiting a while for those. So
yeah,
had a few people ask about that. Let's see. What is Matt's favorite Milwaukee tool so far?
I really love the Surge quarter-inch M12 impact that I didn't really know existed. And in the beginning of the videos and looking at the feedback, I was getting a little frustrated with comments, mainly because I have this strong sense to be right, and now I'm going into this knowing I'm not right, knowing that I've got 1,000 different, they have 6,000 SKUs, Milwaukee does, and we're going to work our way through the vast majority of those SKUs. And in the cordless catalog, there are several hundred tools that I ordered, and there's probably 5 or maybe 6 pages of really specific industry specific tools that I didn't order, and so when I'm opening these things, like things that I never really thought about, like the square key or the output of a ratchet is called an anvil, ANVIL. Well, if you never really thought about that, you wouldn't know. So every single human on the planet has a whole dictionary of words that you don't know, right? And so I'm standing in front of a camera with 300 tools behind me, and I've got 15 that I'm unboxing or 20 that I'm unboxing live on a camera. And I'm working my way through one at a time each product. I'm even finding like there's a typo in the Milwaukee catalog of the torque spec, and then as I'm working through, and my process has never been, especially the last several years, my process has never been, I'm not going to sit down and prepare. I feel like it's more valuable to bring people along from start to finish. To share the start to finish, the learning process, rather than me just pretending like I'm this genius like everybody else does. I'm not a genius. I know a lot about this stuff that I'm interested in, and certainly I'm going to know even more about it as time goes on. Take a look at pressure washers, take a look at detailing, take a look at paint correction. I mean, anything that I have an interest in, I'm going to chase it to, maybe not to the end, but I'm going to chase it further than most people will. And so there's a contingent of dudes who like to tell you what the one thing that they know that you don't, and that makes me very angry. It makes me want to punch the screen. And so I have to just realize that, especially in the tool space, you have the dumbest of people that have the strongest of opinions, and some of them do know some stuff, because they've been using it for a long time. Well, I haven't discovered some of this stuff because some of these tools I haven't been using for a long time, and yet I'm going to have the audacity to do this anyway. So you people can suck it. I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to do it my way. And by the end of it, I'll become one of the world's foremost experts on Milwaukee tools, and that's just the way it's going to be. So you might as well get frickin' used to it, because that's the way it's going to go. So anyway, the Surge tool is really interesting to me. We found that Milwaukee has a peak torque, nut-busting torque, max torque. They have 6 different torque specs, right? And so I'm real live in real time, sitting there looking at a sheet. And oh, by the way, the one tool that was of most interest to me has a typo, and it says 450 foot-pounds. And it threw me for a loop. And you would think that the surge tool would have more output than the non-surge tool. And so we come to learn that there is peak torque, and then there's average torque, and then there's all these different specifications that they use. So in other words, the specs are useless, and you don't know that until you figure it out. And so we actually grab the tools and use them. And so the surge tool has a hydraulic, gear set that makes less noise. So it's it's a quiet version. So the marketing on it is a little bit odd, but the question is, in real world, how does it work? And so that's my favorite tool, and thus far, that I didn't know existed. And then in the video, I'd come to the conclusion that that's the one I want. But then afterwards, and kind of playing with them and realizing how they function, I kind of want both of them. And so these are going to be the questions that I'm able to answer through going through this. Like, I was literally over there. Bryce thinks I'm just watching Heartland, but I'm digging into there are like 5 different Milwaukee spreadsheets that we have to work through, and so I'm literally like committing to memory model numbers just by shuffling things around and figure out pricing and what are we going to order and what's our master list of what our product's going to be. Then after that, what's our listing of I've selected was it 20. I think I'm at 22 tools that we've already selected that we're purchasing, and so I'm getting through, what are the margins, and then, how many tool onlys do we order, and the value of that to the world is going to be significant. I'm supremely confident in that, so all these dum-dums that have no concept for what I'm doing can, go what. Because I couldn't be more confident in that this is going to provide the world with something that doesn't exist, and it's information that I think I know I want, and I think that other people will want too. So yeah, that's the story. So we just did today. I did Sawzalls, Sawzall, Hacksaw, and then the jigsaws. And these aren't tools that I'm using all the time. I probably use it once every 6 months, if that. But it's something that if you're a real man, you want it in your cabinet. So,
all right, one more Milwaukee question here from Danny in the chat. Have you tried, or are you going to try any of the Milwaukee vacuum cleaners?
Yeah, I have all of those. Yeah, I just priced them out. Actually, I was sitting there pricing through them, and then they have 4 of them. So I have all those. We'll dig into those to some extent. They're probably not very good, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, we got a couple super chats here. One from Thomas. He says, doing a full OG Decon polish and coat this weekend. Mm-hmm. When should I do solution finish, and how long between CSL and XO's second coat?
You would do solution finish after you've paint corrected, and then you would you'd want to clean that surface. So you could do it, before you do your coating, or what I generally do would be to, I'd put my first layer of coating down. So I'd put CSL down, and then I'll address the trim. And so that's when I'll do the trim, because I want to let that CSL coat have time to cure. And so that's when I would do solution finish, let that sit, give it some time. You may need to put 2 coats of it on. And then wipe off the excess. So I would probably that next day I'd do my XO, and then I would do my then I'd do CSL. It just depends on how long you want to let the solution finish sit on the plastic. You might want to let it sit for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to kind of cure or soak in. Decide if you want to put more on, because you do want to do the CSL on the trim. So somewhere in that range is when you're going to want to do that.
All right, and then did you address the between coats between CSL, XO, and the second coat of XO? Was there a certain time that you?
No, just do it right away. I normally just by the time I get done with one, I put the second one on.
All right, thanks, Thomas. He said his big OG order arrives today, so that's awesome. Another super chat here from Chris. I have a vise and a wrench.
Mm-hmm.
Should I be concerned about removing the QD from my Cobra Jet hose? I just got my Cox hose reel and I want to thread the hose in.
No, don't be a frickin' sissy. If you have even if you didn't have a vise, all these guys, like, what kind of sissy are you? Just take it off. Take the frickin' wrench, put one wrench on the table, put the other one on the table, and push. Don't be a little baby. Just do it. You'll be just fine. Put a bunch of tape on it, and then torque the crap out of it because those threads are super stout on the Cobra Jet hoses. But I see all these dudes with like these adjustable wrenches. What are they doing? Trying to do it in midair or something like that? Of course you're not going to be able to take it off because we're not a bunch of babies here. We torque it on like a real man. So, yeah, you'll be fine. Especially if you have a vise. If you have a vise, it's a freaking piece of cake. Yeah. Put the wrench in the vise, tighten it down. You know, depending on what, you know, which side you're doing, whether it's a 19 or a 22 millimeter, or a, 1 inch, and you know, get some real man sizes. Don't be using your little baby set. So order up some real wrenches. You're gonna need like a set going up to like, to 1 inch or 24 millimeters, and man up. You'll be just fine.
All right, there you go.
Don't be using freaking channel locks and an adjustable crescent wrench like Chris would. Don't do that. Get some real man tools and get your real man out and lay into it. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. It's on there tight because we aren't babies. So
there you go.
Do that.
This question came up from Jeff's Detailing on Instagram, and then also here in the chat from Matt. Any details? Can you elaborate on what you're doing with the audio system for the Civic?
Yeah, it's up at Sound and Motion now. We're going to be doing custom kick panels with a Dyne Audio 7-inch woofer and 1-inch tweeter in the kick. We're doing a 4-inch ESO Tar, which is their ultra high-end driver from Home Audio, in the door. That's a 4-inch mid-range. And then we're doing a Moscone. What's the processor called? I think it's 8 to 4 or whatever the processor thing's called, or 3 to 6, 6 to 3, something like that. Moscone processor, which will be fed from the Sony RX or RS9, the Sony ES head unit. So ES head unit, feed the Moscone processor, the Moscone 5-channel amp, which is just a beast. It's like 1,000 watt to the subwoofer and like 300 watts to the front stage, and another 150 to the woofers. I don't know how they're going to set it up, but that's basically going to have just front stage. So in the kick panels, then the doors, head unit, processor, and then 2 Illusion Audio with a neodymium magnets and carbon fiber surround. The 2 10-inch woofers are going to do somewhere in the passenger well somehow, make it look good. So that's the plan.
All right, let's see. Anthony here asked a question. I think it comes from your Wash and Chat video with the M3. How do you remove or plan to remove the can coat?
I just polish it off. Yeah. I mean, the decon soap isn't going to pull that off. So yeah, it'll just polish off. And again, I don't really need to do any corrections, so I'll do probably like 2 passes of perfect finish. I would think we'll take it off, hopefully.
All right, let's see. Brian has a question here in the chat. Can you use Tar X on tires as prep? Because we don't have Terminator here in PH. I'm guessing that's Philippines.
No, that won't work very well. I don't think it'll really do anything to the rubber. In fact, it's probably not a good thing to use on rubber or dry it out. Yeah, I mean, you could use mineral spirits, which you can probably get.
All right, here's a good question from Quincy in the chat. Do you think it would be valuable to make a video going through the website showing some of the products you offer? I found myself not knowing you offer certain products. Now the catalog has gotten kind of big. I think it would help new people out.
Yeah, we need a kind of an organization project in the store. We're still in this massive product creation phase where we're creating dozens of products almost monthly of new things. At some point, it's gonna require us to get in and really sort of teach people how to buy stuff. in the beginning it was really easy. I had a few products, and that's really sort of the claim to fame here, is that I'm going to teach you how to buy stuff properly. And so now it's getting complicated, and so we'll have to continue to do that over and over as the catalog grows and becomes more robust. You're kind of limited with the advantage of Shopify is that it's very turnkey. The disadvantage is it's hard to customize. So that's something that is definitely on the docket to get cleaned up.
Here's a question I think you would appreciate from Brad M. Hey, Matt, when you dunk your wash mitt in your rinse bucket, do you go all the way to the bottom of the bucket and rub it on the grit guard, or just swish it around in the bucket?
Just swish it around in the bucket. I think it's a freaking waste of time. I don't know. I never had a need to do that. Just dunk it in there, and the beauty of the microfiber mitt is it releases the dirt, and then you go and dunk it in the other bucket and drop a little bit more dirt out, and then wash your car. Yeah. I don't have a need to do that.
All right, Kyle and a couple other folks here have asked, any status on the press-all bottles? Yep, they are in production. They're overseas. It's going to be a little while, though. The whole overseas thing is kind of complicated right now. Mike, who I believe is one of our Canadian buddies, I'm a beginner polisher, and I want to try Rupes wool pads on my Acura. Mm-hmm. Should I be nervous, or should I just stick with the Rupes yellow?
No, you need wool and microfiber. So you need microfiber from Meguiar's, and you need wool from Rupes, both kinds. Yeah, no, on a dual action, free spinning dual action polisher, no reason why you can't use those. In fact, you need those because the yellow pad isn't going to get done what needs to get done on most cars. You need something more aggressive.
All right, Russell says he protected his car with Power Lock and Colonite about 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. The Colonite is still sweating between washes. Any thoughts on this or how to help?
I don't know how that's even possible. Something else is wrong. It might sweat one time if it even does. So I don't know what he's doing there, but let's see how that's possible. I've never had that happen. I've been using it for 10 years, 15 years.
Let's see. Brian has a super chat here. What is the best leather cleaning system outside of SwissVax? Have you tried Polish Angels or Heron Fart?
No, stick with the darn companies that do leather, right? So stick with companies that know leather. So SwissVax is just pulling other leather companies' products together, right? They may have a few proprietary products, but they are, they're subcontracting color lock stuff and for most of their, especially their conditioning stuff. Their cleaners, I'm not really sure where they come from. It might be their own, but this SwissVax is one of the few companies that has invested heavily in leather care. And so otherwise, I would suggest you stick with the leather care companies, Leather Masters and Color Lock. Instead of, I use Leatherique, but I think Leatherique is really better for, older. I used Leatherique for a little while, but I never really got great results. I was telling myself I was getting great results, but until I saw what great results really look like with Color Lock stuff, it's really not a great solution for, clear coated or coated, modern leather in the car. And so you do the Color Lock system with their cleaner and a brush, and you use their really simple conditioner stuff. You use Shield or protection cream. If it's 3 years or newer, use Shield. If you're doing 3 years or older and hasn't been treated, do protection cream and then Shield, and that's all you need. So I think the Color Lock system is the way to go. Screw all this other wannabe companies that just have a product. You don't know if they've gone out to source an OEM solution from an actual leather care company or if they just mixed up some stuff from their blender. So yeah, unless it's just a surface cleaner, like a base surface cleaner, like a P&S or a NextZ cockpit or a Geon interior or a CarPro Inside or something like that, leave the leather to the leather people is what my suggestion is.
All right, we have a suggestion here for Chris, who asked that question about the Cobra Jet hose. This is from Parker. This sounds like something I would do. You told me. I took the QD off my Cobra Jet hose by putting one wrench on the hose thread and stepping on it with my foot while using another wrench with my hands and pushing the other way. I could see that. I would do that.
Oh my gosh, you guys need to start doing some curls or something. Start doing some cleans. That'll help your grip strength.
Oh man.
Yeah, instead of your little baby hands. Even Bryce baby hands could do it. You guys are killing me.
Gotta have the right tools.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got a couple folks asking. Martin and Efren here. Have you used graphene? What do you think of it? What's your view on it? Have you tried coating a car with it?
I'll visit graphene in 6 years when it's better than silicon dioxide based coatings. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to I don't have any experience with it, but I was talking to Ivan LaCroix about it, who's extremely well versed in the in the chemistry, the technology, being having a very close relationship with Dr. Caducci from Optimum, who are some of the pioneers in coating. The Optimum stuff is a completely different formulation than pretty much any other coating on the market. Their titanium carbide or not magnesium carbide, I'm sorry, is the base delivery of their coatings. And I was talking to Ivan about it 6 months ago about graphene and the viability of it, and there are some positive attributes in that it's theoretically less water spot prone. The negative aspect of it is that it's not as durable as silicon dioxide or magnesium carbide or titanium oxide or some of these other options. So it's promising. I love seeing new technologies come in, but I'll believe it when I'll wait. I don't need to be an early adopter. I saw that I think it was Tim Coates, who owns Ethos, just launched a graphene coating, and of course his name Brian at Apex has been doing some graphene stuff. But yeah, well, it's good news that people are messing with it, and maybe it becomes better. But at the moment, I think that I don't have any bad things to say about G-Technics CSL XO. So I was talking about this in this video. Why is everybody searching for this freaking holy grail? Just stick with what works, and then the general consensus will come in that, hey, this is a superior product, and then it will take the detailing world by storm. Instead of the last coat spray sealant is amazing, or whatever, F11 top. I mean, come on, use your frickin' brain here. This isn't rocket science. I mean, there's no free lunch in this world. So, if I could take hydroxycut and get ripped, it'd be awesome. But unfortunately, it don't work that way, bro.
Let's see. Invasion HD has a question here. Will Lake Country microfiber cutting pads work well with my Griot's Garage 6-inch random orbital polisher, or should I get a 5-inch backing plate and 5-inch pads?
No, it should be fine. I mean, 6 inches is a little harder to work with, but 6 inches is fine. You just have to have the 6-inch pads and the 6-inch backing plate, and you'd be good to go. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be able to get in as tight of an area. 5-inch generally, I prefer that size for the contours of like 911s and stuff like that. But you're going to miss a lot of spots if that's the only machine you have. But you just dig it in there, get as close as you can to some of the edges, and you'll certainly improve the car if you use a decent polish, and don't be using some chemical guys or Adams bullcrap polish. Get some real polish, Sonax or Meguiar's or Jescar or something decent, and you'll make a drastic improvement. Even just using an old school Griot's polisher with a 6-inch backing plate be just fine.
All right, going back to our color lock discussion for just a second. Alex wants to know if and when you expect to carry any color lock products in the store. Yeah,
I need to get on that. I'm so deeply dug into this Milwaukee thing, but there's some revamps of the leather care package in the store is fine. It's good. The only problem is that it's keeping it in stock. But we'll probably, I may transition to the color lock stuff, because I mean the Swissvax treatment is just color lock anyway. The leather cream, and so eventually we'll probably just move to color lock. It'll be a lot easier to get. Ram is moving to the U.S. or has moved to the U.S., so the product's going to be even more readily available as time goes on. So we may make that transition because the SwissVac stuff is really hard to get.
All right, we've got Bobby tuning in from Saudi Arabia. He said he just wanted to say hey.
Cool.
He's over there working while his cars are at home being neglected by his wife. So sorry, Bobby.
It's better that she not touch them rather than mess with them.
That's funny. Let's see. Joey wants to know, is it normal to see what appears to be water spraying out from cut max during the compound process?
No, that doesn't sound good.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, you might have a bad batch, an old batch. Make sure you shake it up really well. But no, yeah, I've never experienced that. You might be using too much product too. 2 little dots. Change your pads out after every 2 panels or so. Blow your pad out after every pass, every set of passes. And yeah, you shouldn't have that.
All right, let's see. Brad wants to know, what did you end up doing with the Apple display?
I kept it. Yeah, once we figured out the issue, I mean, it was just a ground loop from using RCA cables. The power supply and the one of the power supplies, either in the MacBook Pro or the Apple display, was causing a ground loop that the XLR cables fixed as soon as we plugged them in. Because I had gone TRS to RCA, which connected to my Dynaudio speakers. As soon as I transitioned from TRS to TRS is a 1/4-inch connector, looks like a big fat headphone plug and a headphone jack, and so you'd have that to XLR, which has a separate grounding pin, solve the ground loop. So that works great. And I got over having the nano texture is extremely nice in the garage there, and as long as you're not micromanaging it, if you actually look at it, you don't try to look at every pixel. Because you can see the texture in the glass if you sit there and go cross-eyed. So if you just pay attention the way you should, look at a display like you should, it's actually pretty fantastic. So I love it. It's working great.
All right, Russell chimed in the chat and says his CutMax does that as well. So a couple people may have to experiment with that. Let's see. Are you still thinking about stroking the motor in the M3?
Yeah, maybe someday, but it's not on the immediate list.
Which brakes did you upgrade to on the E92?
Brembo GT 380 millimeter front and rear, Type 3 rotors, and then 6-piston front, 4-piston rear calipers. So it's a Brembo GT kit. It's like $8,500 or something, $9,000, something like that. So that's what I have, and I'm probably going to pull that off and do the F80 carbon ceramics at some point.
All right, let's see. I don't know what this means, but I'll ask it anyway. From Martin on Facebook, can you do a Honda rollback when you get the Civic finished? What does that mean? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about rolling back the mileage? I don't know.
Sorry, Martin. I tried. Let's see. Craig wants to know, 20 by 20 garage, painting the walls Harbor Gray. Mm-hmm. Should the finished ceiling be painted white or Harbor Gray, do you think?
White. Yeah. That'll match the trim. Flat paint. Don't do some shiny bull crap. You're not washing your walls. Nobody washes their walls. Just touch it up. And then if you do have to touch up the walls and you have a sheen, you have to roll the whole wall out. Otherwise, you end up seeing the sheen. Paint the walls flat. It's sophisticated. Grown up. It's what grown-ups do. Don't be an average dude. Average people paint their walls shiny. Don't do that.
No shiny
trim shiny. Do semi-gloss trim, or even eggshell trim. But the walls paint flat.
All right, we had a couple people in the chat here ask this, so I looked it up here for us.
Oh Lord!
Are you going to get the Adams pressure washer 2.0?
No, absolutely not.
No?
It's the same garbage as all the other ones. They have no idea what they're doing with the pressure washers, so just leave that out. Just forget it. It's just a Chinese, private labeled hunk of crap, just like the rest of them. Mm-hmm. In the pressure washing world, if you're not spending $500 on a quality pump, it just doesn't work. So just give it up. Understand that you're going to get garbage, and so if I'm going to get garbage, I'm going to at least get a garbage from a pressure washer company. That's why Karcher is the way to go. They are a pressure washing company, so buy it from them. Sunjo is not a pressure washing company. It's just a Chinese garbage company. AR is, they at least are a pressure washing company, but they're buying the same garbage pump that Sunjo has. So don't do that. Don't do any of them. In fact, don't even buy the Karcher. But if you're going to buy one, again, this is why I bought them. This is why I don't need to test every single one from here on out. They're all the same. It's all the same thing. There is no secret, special, Matt didn't find it and I found it pressure washer. It doesn't exist. They're all the same. It's all the same Chinese garbage. And so just leave it up. It's $380 for a hunk of crap. But Adams is, they're not selling to us. They're selling to their customer base, and their customer base, so they'll just buy. They want the complete product line. I would have bought it from them for sure back in the day, having not known anything. I would have added it to my list. I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything but Griot's Garage, and anything Griot's has, I bought. Now, I'm much wiser and have learned in buying Griot's entire catalog that Griot's doesn't really know what they're doing. On certain products they do, but on others they're just going and searching the world and picking and choosing some private labeled products, and some of them are good and some of them are not. Like for instance, Griot's had private labeled Lista cabinets. It was amazing. They're great cabinets, but they also private label and AR Blue has 15 or 18 different cheap pressure washers. Griot's has literally selected the worst one. That's how you know they don't have a freaking clue what they're doing with pressure washing. They make a great, detail spray and awesome clay bars, and they make a great polisher that they go to China and curate and spend a lot of time developing. So they have some virtues, make some good stuff, but the pressure washer, they're just buying an AR that's the worst one out of all of them, the worst one. And so, don't do that. Don't go there. So I'm not buying that pressure washer. I'm done with that. I already know. I can take one millisecond look at it and know exactly what it is. It's garbage. So stop that nonsense. Stop emailing me and asking about the Portland. Why haven't you tried the Portland? Because the Portland's the same as the Sunjoe. It's the same freaking thing. Oh, I found this on Amazon. This looks great. It says it's 2 gallons per minute. It's $80, you moron. Of course it doesn't do 2 gallons a minute. God dang it. You can't be that stupid. Luckily, I don't have to say that anymore because the people in the Facebook group take care of that for me. Stop. I tested 80 of them. There's like 20 that I haven't. And they're all the same as the other 80. So just forget it. Karcher, Greenworks. Those are the two best ones, and they suck balls. But they, the best of what we got in that cheap. If you can't scrape together, $500 for a pressure washer, then that's what you get.
What if it were blue? That change your mind?
What? Oh, no.
I could get it. The color matched.
But it says it's 1.77 gallons per minute. Yep, they can say whatever they want. It's not. Get out of here.
All right, we have an explanation here from Ryan Ross about the rollback.
Okay.
In the chat, he says, rollback, burnout. Get going in reverse, rev it, and put it in first gear for the burnout.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's something you would do.
Maybe.
We can try. Thank you, Ryan, for the translation.
That must be the new thing that people say.
Hey,
those are the same guys that tell me I don't know how to shift.
You got to keep up with the.
Got to power shift, man. You shift like a terrible. You're riding the clutch. I said, what? Get out of here.
Jason, here you go. I think you would appreciate this comment from Jason Wallace in the chat. People are so convinced they're going to save $100 or some crap without considering the value of their time spent angry about what a piece of crap
they're going to be poor for the rest of their lives, for infinity. If that's the way you live your life, trying to save $4. Like, no. Have enough foresight to see some crazy person, me, who's gone to the nth degree, told you exactly what to do. You can't be that stupid to not realize that I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you what to do. And you still are too stupid to realize that you're trying to save $4. Take that time and be better at not sucking at life. That's what you should do, Chris.
Hold on, I'm writing this down.
Is that too much to ask?
That's good.
You can't be that stupid. And if you really, they can't even see it. Like, they can't even realize. There's just no concept for it's cheap people. Just don't be cheap. Don't be cheap and stupid. You can be cheap and smart because, you know, get your rocks off over what your bank account's, you know, size is. That's great. Everybody has their own thing. You know, my thing isn't even driving cars. It's just shining them up with a diaper. That's what I like to do. But everybody has their own thing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But leave me out of it, for gosh sakes. He's freaking posting these garbage pressure washers saying, I think I found it. You're stupid. You suck at life. Don't do that. Trying to save, you know, $4. By trying to save $4, you're going to end up spending $40 more, and you clearly don't have it because you're too stupid to realize that trying to save $4 is going to cost you $40 more, which means you suck at your job too, which means you don't have any money. It's like a vicious cycle of stupidity. So don't do that.
All right, we got a super chat from Brian Chu, our buddy up in New York. He says, thanks for sharing your story on Hexcast. It was awesome to hear how everything came together.
Yeah, thanks for watching, man. I really have. I kind of like that inside the Hex. I feel like I get it all out of my head. We put it out there, or I'm bringing along my day in a vlog, and then I don't feel this overwhelming need to go and fight people. Like, there's no like need to fight back and teach people they're stupid. Because, you know, it's just I really enjoy the format of it. Just put it out there in the universe, let people watch it and get what they're going to get from it, and then, you know, we both move on with our lives. I like that.
All right, Corey wants to know, he's looking to build an attached garage. Want to be able to wash my car in it. Do you have any suggestions on type of paint that handles moisture of the pressure washer? Also, any floor drain that you suggest?
Yeah, you got to be real careful with washing inside. First thing is you would want to make sure that you don't have an AC system that's ducted through the rest of the house. You're going to get kind of mist, and unless you have some really superior dehumidification, you could end up with mold in the ducting of the house. It could be problematic. So you want to make sure that if you're gonna condition the space, that you would have a mini split that's self-contained. And then, you know, the walls, I mean, it would be great if it was a block wall and you didn't have any drywall or anything. But, I mean, if you really were going to do it right, you'd want to do some sort of, was it melamine or melamine, which is like that shiny, or is it fiber reinforced plastic, FRP? You do FRP panels on the wall, and then you have to, you know, put the, they have like car washes have these where they have like a T-molding that clips between each of them so that it stays watertight. But I think you could get away with, this would be the one time you'd want to do a sheen. You'd probably want to do like an oil-based paint that had a sheen to it so that, you know, the water would kind of fall off the walls. But, I mean, in a perfect world, if you didn't have the ability to, like if it was a stick-built or a metal stud-built, you know, garage or home, you'd probably want to do cement board in that area. You cement board, and then, you know, finish it with, you know, with something that either tile or, you know, again, if you're going to paint, you're going to make sure you put some sort of, you know, oil-based, you know, exterior type paint if you could. I guess you could probably do an exterior water-based paint too, but I haven't done a lot of interior stuff because of that mold issue, and, you know, keeping control of the water and where it's going. You'd want to keep things off the walls too. You know, you don't want cabinets around that can rust, and you don't want to have extra cars in there that get overspray all over it. So, yeah, I think that's the key. But I know lots of people wash in their garage with just regular walls, and they just maintain it. They just don't get water all over the place. And a pressure washer can help with that. You'll get a little misting, but you're not dumping, you know, 8 gallons a minute out of a hose, so it's a little more manageable. You'd want a slot drain. Slot drains are pretty awesome. Slot Drain is the company. And then, you know, Swiss Tracks can actually help with that because it helps with, you know, some of the slickness of it. And, you know, if you have the floor pitched properly, the water should run. So just some things to consider.
All right, let's see. I had a question here. Oh, yeah. An update. Charlie wants to know, is there an update on the new building? What's going on there?
Yeah, plans are done, so we should have those today or tomorrow, or today or Monday. Then they're going to permitting, and then after permitting, the big holdup could be that if we can't do the door in the front of the building, then it's basically toast. And then I don't know what we'll do. But the it should be once we get permitting. So permitting will probably be another month or month and a half, and then from there it would be about 6 weeks after they start building. So we're looking at somewhere around 3 months from now, theoretically, if all things go smoothly. And so 3 months from now, then we would move in. So when is July, September, August, so October, end of October, we'd be moving from here to there. And that's that's the probability right now.
All right, let's see. William King on Instagram wants to know, will there be a final tour of Nick's OG Spec Morton building out in Colorado?
Yeah, at some point. I don't have any plans to go out there. But yeah, I'd like to go out at some point and get his take on where everything's at.
All right, Ryan on Instagram says, do you have any tips or techniques for applying G-Technics C5 to a set of freshly powder-coated wheels?
Shouldn't be pretty simple. I would do CSL instead of C5, but no, you just put it on and wipe it off. Put it on, so do the face, do the barrel, come back, start wiping the face off, then wipe the barrel off, and you'd be good to go. You'd also going to want to top it with EXO, because the C5 has virtually no water behavior improvement, so you'd want to top that with EXO.
All right, are you ordering the 992 RS to replace your current RS? And then, if so, what are your thoughts on the changes, the differences between the two?
Yeah, I mean, have they even announced it yet? So yeah, I'll probably get one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the environment looks like. It's looking pretty good to be able to get GT cars, now. A lot of it would depend on what I would get for mine, and we'll see. Yeah, but I'd like to. I'd like to make that transition, to try to stay on the new car if I can.
All right, Nosa asking a question here in the chat. You guys going to be selling the Milwaukee batteries individually?
Yes. Yeah, so, and the Milwaukee stuff is slowly up in the store, and I know a lot of people are waiting for sort of definitive, the data on them, and but yeah, we'll have all various batteries, chargers, an end-to-end solution. So yeah, we'll have those. I have every single battery they make, including every 2-pack and 10-pack. And so I'm making a video on that here soon in the next week or two.
All right, let's see. Gabe wants to know from Facebook, would you ever get into another Mustang? If so, which one, and would you get the 10-speed or the manual option?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the GT500 is super cool. I would be a manual if I had a choice, but obviously the GT500, you have I thought it was a 7-speed DCT in the GT500, but yeah, you only get the automatic if you're a girl, so or you're a young, not very manly man. You better learn how to drive a manual. That's the only reason you get a 10-speed. Don't give me this bull crap about it's faster on the racetrack. Who cares? If you have the manual option, you get the manual option instead of a 10-speed automatic. And the 10-speed is terrible. It's just shunting gears all the time. The 10-speed in the Raptor is the dumbest thing ever. Oh, I hate it. It's always shifting gears all the darn time. It's terrible. So anyway, sorry about that, 10-speed owners. It's not a bicycle. It's a freaking car. Get a manual.
All right, let's see. Alex on Facebook, I believe he asked this question a while back, and we just didn't get to it because we didn't do the podcast that day. Matt, do you ever feel tremendous pressure to never stop? Daily content, hacks, videos, innovation, growing the business, etc. Do you feel like you could take a 2-week vacation? Being a perfectionist myself, this would be my feeling in your shoes. Curious as to how you deal
2-week
with it.
Vacation? You freaking lost your mind? Heck no. That'd be miserable. 2 weeks. No way. That'd be nuts. Who does that?
Imagine
you
all
have
Heartland you can watch. 2 weeks.
What would I do for 2 weeks? No way. Yeah, no. I have constant constant pressure. I'm actually in a little bit of a lull. I started taking the happy pills again, so it makes me want to just lay around. And so even then, when I'm laying around medicated, I still want to get up, and I still feel like I'm procrastinating at all times. And yeah, so I feel like, man, I need to make a video. Right now it's like I'm making too many product videos, so I need to make some car videos. I'm constantly thinking about the website is not organized, and I'm yelling at Chris all the time. We need to edit the descriptions, and why is this stuff out of stock, and what's going on with the pictures need to be updated, and Google Shopping's telling us it isn't going to work, and it's just endless. There's this endless need. It's part of what makes me pretty good at life, but also makes me deeply cursed, to the point that I'm going to have to hire a driver to drive me around everywhere because I'm a freaking mess. So, yeah, that's my life in a nutshell right there. This question explains it exactly, where it's nonstop, always thinking about it, always doing stuff. I'm not taking any freaking 2-week vacations. The beauty of my life, though, is if I did take a 2-week vacation, I just take the camera and just vlog it, and we can still connect with people. So the key for me, though, is that I generally, so I'll think about the biggest thing that's changed for me from the beginning of the channel to now is I will think more about what people want from me than in the beginning, which I don't give a crap what you want. This is what you get. So I do think a little bit more about it, maybe 10% of the time. I still give you what I want to give you, which is probably a long-term mistake. It would be much better off. The brand would be much bigger and better if I would stop calling people girls and sissies and stop yelling and ranting. But then, I think I'd lose a little bit of something. I'd lose a little bit of the authentic advantage that I have. But I am more cognizant of, like, if I was in the beginning, if I was interested in all these Milwaukee tools and I was making videos, I wouldn't give a crap what you thought. I'm just going to make every Milwaukee video. I'm going to release them all at once on the same day because that's when I had them ready to go, and I wouldn't give a crap what anybody thought. And what it did to the numbers, but now I'm a little bit more cognizant, and then we'll sprinkle in some other things into the video queue, because right now that's all I want to do. I just want to unbox stuff and figure it out, and I don't want to do anything else. Well, that and watch Heartland, but other than that, that's all I want to do.
We're getting to that. Don't worry. We're saving that for the end. Let's see. David wants to know, I believe this has been asked before, but what is currently the best way of getting water spots off my GTI coated with crystal serum light and EXO? I unfortunately can't always garage keep my car, so it has to live outside in South Florida weather pretty often. It's my daily driver. Try not to stress out too much. Thanks for the OG tire dressing, by the way. It's been working great.
Usually on a coating, you can just use a spot remover, Geon or CarPro, or I don't know if Technics has one. Kamikaze or IGL. There's all these spot removers, silica scale removers, these things. So usually you can use something like that. If that doesn't work, they can try Maguire's wheel brightener, wheel acid, diluted, say 2-to-1, 3-to-1, something like that. If that doesn't work, then you can try a light polishing. The hope is that water spots aren't etching the clear coat. It's just attaching, the minerals are attaching itself to the top of the coating. So, worst case, you should be able to do a light polishing and pull it off. But, what you hope is you don't have to go there, because then you're going to have to recoat the darn thing. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a long-term coating. And so, that's one of those things that I found that I generally don't get a lot of water spots from the rain. It's normally from like sprinklers or from the hose, in the house. I guess it depends on where you are. Some places have acid rain and stuff like that. So, but that's the procedure. So you should try a spot remover and see if those, Optimum MDR or something like that.
All right, along the same lines, kind of sticking to detailing here for a second. Someone on Instagram wants to know, my microfiber towels are linty. Is it time to replace them, or can I save them?
Once that happens, it's toast. What happens with lint and the microfibers are broken. You're splitting or broken half. And once that happens, then you're pretty much toast. You just throw them away and get new ones. Sometimes they can lint right out of the box. If they weren't handled properly or weren't produced properly or were overheated or something at some point. It's just, and that's what you hope with a higher quality towel. Even some of the Rag Company towels or some of the microfiber tech towels that I bought over the years. You've just kind of get unlucky sometimes. And even if you buy a $5 towel, which is about as expensive as they get, unless you buy a Microfiber Madness, it's what's the end of the world? And spend $50 on towels and they last 8 months, and you throw them away and get some new ones. I chalk that up to maintenance, part of the process.
All right, let's see. Joey has a detailing question here. After compounding the hood on my BMW for the very first time of owning it, after 8 years, scratches are gone, but what appear to be microscopic pits are visible. Any idea of what this might be?
Some of that could be solvent pop, meaning that the solvents, as they rise to the surface after the car was painted, leave little air pockets behind as the solvent, evaporates out through the top of the clear coat. But, it could also be rock chipping. It could be, just a bad paint job. There's not really any way to fix that kind of stuff. You're stuck with it.
All right, let's see. Here's an entertaining question from our friend Don't Skip Pudding in the UK. My Inside the Hex subscription auto-renewed this week. Thanks for the hard work you put into it and a year of great content. A question to both of you. If you were off the scale hungry and the only two places open were Texas Roadhouse and Longhorn Steakhouse, which would you choose?
Yeah, Longhorns for sure. The Texas Roadhouse one was terrible.
Yeah, but they have the yeast rolls, don't they?
Yeah, but it's just like we used to go to the one down in Orlando. It was called, what's it called, Logan's or something like that. The
Logan's.
one Logan's on Kirkman. My friend Mark would go, we'd have a 5 or 6 restaurant rotation, and he would eat the same thing at each 5 restaurants would have the one thing. You'd never eat anything else but that one thing. Like 2J's, he would eat the was it the a la 2J or something, and he'd get it exactly the same way every time. And we go to Logan's Steakhouse, and I forget what he would get there, but he'd get the same salad and the same thing every time. And we go to Outback, and you get the same freaking thing, cheese fries and something else every single time. And so he loved freaking Logan's Roadhouse, and I love those yeast roll things. And so I remember it being great. And so Brian and I went to this Texas Roadhouse up here in the Villages, and it was like eating vomit on a plate, and it was probably the same stuff that I loved back in the day, but now I'm this snob, I'm the snobby guy. And so we just even Ryan wouldn't eat it. We just grossed out and just left. So, but I don't want to go to either one of those, especially now, I've been buying, Snake River Farms, $40, $50, $60 steaks. And so you'd have, that's the same steaks that Ruth's Chris or even higher quality steakhouses are buying from places like that. But I'm eating, USDA prime steak, so I can't do that anymore.
Can't go back.
Nope.
Yeah, I think Texas Roadhouse probably has the better steaks, but the yeast rolls at Longhorn. No, between those two.
They're not even buying USDA choice. They're buying.
They just get it from Sam's right next door.
They're just buying garbage meat. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Not good.
All right, let's see. So thanks for that. Don't Skip Pudding. A trip down memory lane. You get some good chat here. That's good. We'll stick to food here for just a second. How are you liking the Yaxel knives? I recently picked up a Yaxel Chef Shun Utility and Pairing. Curious to know what you'll be using to sharpen them.
I know. I got to figure that out. I have a little pit in mine. They're freaking awesome. It's scary though. You got to be careful. You'll cut your freaking arm off if you're not careful. And Michelle's explicitly not allowed to use them because she's her and my mom, they'd cut themselves all the time, so they're not allowed to use fancy knives. But yeah, I've got to figure that out. There's a guy in Orlando I need to get with who's like the obsessed garage of knives, and so I need to get him to come up and teach me how to do it.
Yeah, I think he emailed you a while back.
Yeah, and it's not easy to even just be taught. It's it's a bit of an art form to get the right angle. So I'll probably get like a cheater, whatever the 22-degree cheater thing is, and get several whetstones and figure out how to. Knowing me, I'll probably just get a new knife. I just buy new knives every time I need to sharpen them. Oh boy.
Let's see. Epiphany Detailing wants to know, do you have any idea or do you plan to make a video featuring the FIAC wall air?
Yes. That's good. Thank you for reminding me. I need to do that. We're going to install it at my dad's house. I need to go do that. Maybe I'll do that this weekend.
Yeah, we have those in stock here now, so that's good. Let's see. People getting here late to the party asking about the Adams pressure washer. Don't get them started now.
Get out of here.
Dominic on Facebook wants to know, I guess he's talking about your M3, why aren't you having a body shop blend the rear bumper into the quarter panels?
Oh, who the heck? Why would you want to do that? We can just paint the rear bumper.
That's Dominic. No,
yeah. No, thanks. I don't want to paint body panels if I don't have to. Matches dead on. Looks great.
All right. Jack says, no question for me. Just wanted to say enjoyed the latest Wash and Talk and keep smashing it, OG. So thanks, Jack. That's cool. We have a super chat here from MDP. The public requires you to go through the bracket of Little Debbie snacks to rank all the delicious treats for us.
I saw that. Yeah.
Is that a thing now?
I'll be down for that. Yeah, there's some sort of bracket.
We could print it out.
I can tell you who's going to win right now.
Have you seen the triple-decker Little Debbie's? Like fudge round or oatmeal cream pie, but it's like a Big Mac. There's three.
No.
3 cookie layers and 2 icing layers.
We should set that up for next week's podcast to go through the.
Those are good. All right, now we got to find it.
Go through the bracket. I'm surprised you haven't brought that thing up yet.
No, I didn't even know about it. I'm behind.
Yeah. Somebody sent it to me a private message on Instagram. It's like, oh yeah, I could do that.
So thank you, MDP. Now we have something to do next week. Spencer wants to know, I think you've talked about this before. Do you have any ambition to be on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yes, that's like my life's goal. Yeah. If I go on there, then I've made it. I think I have a good story for that too, the whole story of obsession and passion and all that crap. Yeah, someday.
Oh, and MDP says he's the one who sent you the DM. He's also the one who did the super chat here. So
yeah,
he must work for Little Debbie. All right.
Yeah.
Now we have something to do.
He wants to make sure that I stay chubby. That'd be a real problem if I'm super fit and cranky and superiority complex and all this stuff and not sucking at life and all that. So that'd be bad news.
Let's see. What stage of the order process are you in for the GT4?
Car. I just got the text from Tom. The car completed production, so it'll be shipping soon.
Any updates on Sema this year? Is it off with everything going on in the world?
Yeah, I'm not going. I mean, it's not going to be very good because even if they do have it, I mean, it's going to be you have to walk around with a stupid mask on the whole time, which I'm not doing. And you could there's like probably 20% of the vendors would actually be there. So my guess is they'll cancel it. But yeah, because I mean it's such a long process to get your booth and all of that, and I know lots of vendors aren't going to go. And who the heck wants to walk around for 4 straight days with a frickin' mask on your face? I'm not doing that. I'd rather stay at home, breathe my own air in my own house. But yeah, it's sad because I love Sema. It'll just make Sema that much better next year when we get back to rational human behavior. So.
Let's see. There's a question here. Oh yeah, MDP, email me the bracket. I'll take the bracket. We'll print out. Chris at Obsessed Garage. It's the one time I'll ever tell you to email me. Let's see. This is from Michael on Instagram. Looking into one of the relatively newer M12 Die Grinders. Do you think you'll carry either the right angle or straight or neither? I'm curious to hear your.
I think probably both. Die Grinders I'm going to do tomorrow or the next day. So I have the M12s, the M18s. There's a bunch of them. So we'll make that determination here in the next day or two. But yeah, I'm definitely going to carry it. It's one of those things that I always wish I had laying around. I've got one that isn't really a grinder. It's just a cutoff wheel. So yeah, and then I'm gonna have a whole suite of all the the accessories, all the cutoff wheels and grinding tools and all of that stuff is the goal. So yeah, I'm excited about that grouping of tools. Again, I just did sawzalls and made a determination, and then jigsaws today. I'm excited to get into these more obscure tools that I don't have as much experience with. There it is, the little Debbie.
Sweet 16.
Yeah,
That's fitting.
that's only 16.
That's enough.
How do we get a hold of the Christmas trees around this time of year, though? I mean, you could probably order it online. I'm sure somebody on eBay or something you can buy them.
Have to get on the little Debbie Black Market.
Honey buns. I could do this in a minute right now. Tell you what wins.
We need empirical evidence.
I need to cleanse my palate after each one.
Yeah.
Smell it. Lick it.
Oh, man. Luke asked a question here in the chat that we were discussing right before we came on. Are you still on track to go to the Winter's Garage Makeover for sometime this summer?
Yeah, he's coming next Friday. So Emmanuel will be here Friday. We'll sit down, shoot some videos, talk about what we're going to do. We'll order all the product, and that'll dictate when I go up there. So it'll probably be, 3 or 4 weeks we'll be up there. I have to get Mike to get on Mike's schedule, and start shipping stuff up there soon.
And he's where? North Carolina? Remember that?
Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's flying down Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we'll pick everything out, get everything ordered up, and we'll be good to go. And then I'm going to bring the whole crew up there. Probably bring Bryce and Michael up there to shoot it, so that I can stay focused on the project and the videos rather than having to edit it and capture everything.
All right. Nailers. Are you going to test the Milwaukee nailers?
Yep.
Nail guns.
Got all those as well. Again, I don't even know that I call it testing. You can pretty much tell which is the right one when I'm going through it. And then, of course, over time I'll find more out. But yeah, I've got, I think there's 8 or 9 of them. There's 14 gauge up to 18 gauge, 14, 15, 16, 18, and then there's different degree, different angles. So yeah, I'm going to do that. They have a palm nailer. They also have a crown staple gun, so we got that as well. Yeah, I'm excited about all these things. We got, I even bought a couple of the SDS drills. And lots of stuff that I don't need, all the little cameras and all that stuff. It's we're getting through it.
Had a question. You've mentioned before redoing the polisher lineup. Have you decided on what's going to make the final cut?
Yeah, so we'll keep the LHR 21 Mark III, LHR 15 Mark III. Then we'll have I'm going to replace the Rupes 3-inch with the 3-inch flex, the XFE 7 electric. Also, we'll have the cordless PXE 80, which is 3-inch, 1-inch. We'll keep the Nano. I like the Nano short and long neck. And then we'll also have, I'm probably going to do away the Duetto, the Melee, the Rotary, and then I'll carry the XFE 15 cordless from Flex, and that'll probably and the LHR 75 pneumatic and LTA 125 pneumatic. So we're going to sort of limit it down. I'm going to get rid of the force rotation stuff, get rid of the rotary stuff, get rid of all the polishing stuff from Rupes, all the old stuff that I have from the Rupes events, and kind of clean up the polishing line, clean up the page, and make it more specific. This is what you need.
All right. Do you have any plans? This is from Eric to look into the pack out storage system as a way to store and transport polishers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pack outs as well as tool grid storage solutions for the bigger tools. They sent me all the prototype stuff for the larger tools. And also building out an entire accessory line of blades, drill bits, hex bits. All the supporting products you need for all the tools, Some of the hand tools like levels and tape measures and stuff, we'll dig into that as well. And we'll probably curate from the Milwaukee line, and then in the future, I would like to have, like specific screwdrivers and, and all kinds of stuff. So this is going to take me years to get through, but we're going to, work through one at a time, from now until forever. That's, if I did it all overnight, what am I going to do tomorrow? So I might as well take my time and kind of work through it. My guess is we'll be going through DeWalt and Makita and other stuff in the future too.
All right, one last question here from Alex. Would you ever consider adding front-of-the-line ordering or something like that to Hex Plus, meaning members get fulfilled first? And/or would you ever consider adding another tier of membership that has a higher % off, front-of-the-line fulfillment, expedited shipping, etc.?
Well, that was the original plan, but the app, the system we have currently is not, it's not feasible. So the original idea was that orders would be flagged when you were a Hex Plus, and you would get pulled to the front of the list. But unfortunately, the app doesn't have any way to do that. And so unless we develop our own, which is not out of the question, for now, this is kind of what we got. It's part of the reason why we can't just have you sign up for another year or something. You have to wait for it to auto-renew. So it's clunky, but in its current form, it works. And I was so adamant, I wanted to build it on my own platform. And so doing that means that it's more complicated.
All right, let's see. Then going back to Tyler's question, they wanted to know what's all this Heartland talk, and is OG Canada a reality, basically?
So I was talking to Rick, my coach, about this, and I've thought about a couple of different things. A Carolina mountain house really interests me, to have a place to go to. I'm not much of a... there's two schools of thought here. Then the smart school of thought was you just travel around all over the place and you just use somebody else's house, borrow somebody else's place or rent something, and then you don't have the work of maintaining it, right, and keeping it up. The problem with that is 99.9% of people don't know how to set up their house right, and so I go, especially when it's their second place, and it's just janky. I mean, most people are regular old people. They drive Toyota Camrys around, right? And so I don't want to go to your house that's your second house that you don't really care all that much about because you're renting it to everybody. And so when you go to these places, it's always freaking stinky, and the couch sucks, and the TV is some 27-inch Magnavox, and you just it's just terrible. I want to be able to go hiking and fishing, and then come back, take a shower, and a nice clean shower with not some little baby hand towels, and have like my own legit stuff. Right? This is what I want.
It's not too much to ask.
Well, apparently it is, because the only way to do it is you got to buy your own house. And so I started looking. I've been looking for Carolina mountain houses, and then I started watching Heartland. I'm in the middle of OCD meltdown mode again, and so I was looking for something simple to watch. And so my mom was watching the show Heartland. She's like, the show's great, and I started watching it, and I'm like, this is terrible. Next thing I know, I was like, this isn't too bad. Next thing I know, I'm in season 10. There's like 18 episodes every season. They're 45-minute episodes, and I'm in pure obsession mode. I watch like 6 episodes a day, and so it got me thinking, well, I would like to have Canadian distribution someday, because think about this logically. So we ship things to Canada, but a lot of the stuff we bring in, we sell is imported, right? And whether or not we pay the import duties or not, somebody's paying the importation cost, whether it's shipping or it's shipping and some sort of value-added tax or import tax. Chinese goods are having major tariffs attached to them. And so one of the disadvantages to a Canadian resident who buys from us is that not only are they paying their import duties into Canada, they have to pay shipping, and they're also paying the import duties into the U.S. So our price reflects that cost to get it here. And so they're getting double taxation, double duties, double shipping costs. And then we're shipping it from Florida all the way up there. So, Canada's with 37 million residents, or 37 million, whatever you call it, citizens, and I think we have a pretty significant following in Canada. So I started thinking, and Rick told me I'm a freaking idiot, by the way, but I started thinking, well, why don't I get a place on the Rockies in like Alberta, centrally located? It's on the east side of the Rockies. So we could ship products all across the country. It does do me good to have a house in Toronto. I don't want that. And so instead I buy, now one thing I underestimated is that real estate in Canada is insanely expensive. But, there is the conversion, of course. It's, 1.3, 1.4, 1.35 to 1 or something like that currently. And so I have Calgary is a pretty cool city. The weather there is actually much more temperate than I thought it was. I'd assumed it was like minus 50 all winter. Well, I mean, they generally have lows of like 12 degrees, is the lows.
That's pretty low.
But in the summer, 75 degrees, the highs. And I didn't realize this, but in the summer, like the sun sets at like 11 p.m. and it comes up at like 5 a.m. But then, of course, it's the opposite in the winter. Well, I wouldn't be there in the winter. I'd be here. So I got my gears turned. I said, well, I could create a distribution center there, and then have a place where I don't know what the roads are like in the mountains there, but maybe there's some cool roads, and it could have like a little house and a little ranch. I was thinking it would cost like $100,000 or something, but more like $100 million. It's like $2 million and up. And so I thought, this could be a way that I could start to, 3 months out of the year, I could have a production team up there, or some of you guys are, come up there for the winter as well, or the summer, and then I could have, Canadian distribution. Seems like a pretty solid plan, doesn't it? Rick said it was the dumbest idea I ever had.
I don't know about that, but
So anyway,
so
what do you guys think about Calgary? Is that a good place to?
Need Canadians to chime in.
Yeah, we need some. I'm not moving to Ontario. I'm not moving to Quebec. I'm not interested in that. There's no benefit to me. I would want to have somewhere in the mountains. And so I'm watching the show Heartland. It's set in Calgary. I think what's the city called? They call it Hudson, but the name is made up. It's called some High River or something like that. Is where the show is set. I'm like, this is fantastic. Of course, they're showing the great side about it. It's sunny every day, and when it's snowing, it's nice when they're really freezing their nuts off. But I had assumed it was much, much colder, because I think Minnesota in the winter is like what was it, minus 55 or something crazy this year. But it's actually more temperate than I thought.
Let's see what our Canadians are saying in the chat here. Come to Atlantic Canada.
No. I'm not coming to Atlantic Canada.
St. Catharines. It's cheaper and near the border.
No.
High Level, is that the name of the town?
I don't need it to be near the border. I'm going to get on a plane. I need someone that flies direct. WestJets flies direct from Orlando to Calgary.
Oh, that's good.
Or, even better, Delta, my favorite airline. Delta, I could jump on a Delta to connect to Atlanta and then into Calgary. It's a 4 or 5 hour flight. And have my GT4 up there in the mountains somewhere near Banff, and get me some cattle, a couple of horses, and then I'll hire some ranch hand.
Yeah, you got to stop watching this show.
What, they make it look so simple. There's never any money. They never have to pay for anything. It just all works itself out. Get myself some horse boarder people. I could board some horses, make some money. It's a piece of cake. I'll be there 1 month out of the year. And OG Canada revenue would pay for this place. I think it's a pretty logical idea here. I don't know. What do you think?
Who are you going to get to go up there the other 11 months of the year?
No one. We'll just shut it down. I'll have a ranch hand taking care of it.
Oh, man. So
I thought it was a pretty good idea, and Rick was just looking at me like I was the dumbest human ever created. He says, first of all, Canadians don't like Americans. And I said, I think Canadians like me, though. He says, no, they don't. They're just telling you that because they're too nice.
People.
They're too nice to tell you that they don't like you. So that's the first problem. So you can go up there, but no one likes you and no one wants you there. So you're off to a bad start.
Oh, man. That's good.
So anyway.
Rick's a smart man, said someone in the chat. Now I have people wanting to apply to be the OG ranch hand.
So that was the other option is that, I get all these people that offer me to like, set up OG Zimbabwe. And so, I started thinking about, just find somebody and they do it in their house like we did at my parents' house. Just start small and see if it, it takes off. I do think that, there are solutions. The other argument I had was that then I could go up in the winter sometimes and start to develop, winterization products and things like that. Unless I get into it, I could pull from other people, but unless I actually, spend the time and effort, I don't have much of an interest, so then I don't do as good of a job of sharing, like, undercarriage cleaning solutions and, dealing with salt and issues like that. So theoretically having a place there, I'm looking for all these internal justifications for why this would be a good idea. So the main question is, how are the roads on, there's some cool roads that have like decent, or are they all jacked up, in that area of the world, that sort of Montana, Alberta, eastern side of the Rocky Mountains.
All right, so
I think it could be pretty sick.
Canadians in Alberta, email us and let us know. Is it really like Heartland up there?
I'm telling you, give it the show. Watch the first season. And it's kind of hard to get through the first season because it's 2007, and then around the third season it starts to get pretty legit. Now, depending on your definition of legit, if you want mindless, like you can literally in the first 30 seconds of the episode understand the entire problem and solve it right there. There's no like angst. You're not like there's no suspense. It's I like it. Now I want to go visit the set, take the Heartland tour. They have like a Calgary Heartland tour you can go take.
Oh man,
I'm the most unlikely human to watch that kind of show. It's like a serious version of Heart of Dixie.
We haven't started watching Heartland yet, but I think we might.
Oh, you're gonna, Megan's gonna love it. I'm telling you. Just get through. You can just power through the first season, and then you'll get into it. You'll be like, you'll even like it. I think, maybe.
We'll see. And now I heard somebody over there told me they renewed for like season 14 next year or something. So.
Yep, I already found it. I gotta buy the Up channel. I don't even know what that is, but I found out where I can buy it because it's only up to season 11 on Netflix, and then you can subscribe to the Uplift Network or whatever it's called, Uplift Family and whatever. And it's the channel. I guess the show is like subsidized by the Canadian government. Like it's the longest running Canadian show of all time, and it's on like the CBC network, which is like in parts of like North Dakota and Montana, and then Alberta and Saskatchewan, and that area of the world. I guess it's a real popular network, and that's what network is the show is on. And I've done way too much research on this show.
We have a suggestion to watch some of Rad Garage. I know you already watched some of his videos.
Yeah, I know,
right?
Rick.
Yeah. Watch a video of him cleaning his SQ5 in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I guess he's
horrible.
up there somewhere.
Looks horrible. Yeah. I think he's near Toronto. I think he's in Ontario somewhere.
All right. So, there's Yoshi in the chat. He finally checked in. I didn't see him yet. But I wanted to share this.
Oh, boy.
It's been sitting here, and people have been asking about it. It's finally done. I think it was May the 8th. I had to go back and check. Was the podcast where this came up. Where it was actually my wife, Megan, who chimed in the chat asking why there wasn't a Camry illustration for the giveaway. And so you said if there was $500 raised in Super Chat that he would commission it and get it printed. So Yoshi donated a large portion of that, as I recall. And so Bryce kind of got with him, and they figured out, and they got it to Candy Pipes who did the rest of the illustrations. So now in the store, it's live. Bryce has it up there. We're I think it's ready to go now. And Alex is already requesting one here in the chat. He wants you to autograph it.
Oh, Lord. I refuse.
So here's let's see if I can hold that up correctly. We got the Camry illustration is done.
But that looks nothing like your Camry.
It looks exactly like my Camry.
I don't see any failed clear coat areas, dents in the trunk, dents in the door. I don't see like one side of bead maker on the hood. And why does it have 22-inch Volks on it and Brembos?
I think there is some creative license used by the artist.
Oh, okay. All right.
But basically everything else is the same.
Yeah. Well,
and you would be proud to know I sent this picture to Megan, and the first thing she said was, "Those aren't the right taillights." Because she knew that hers, because it was her car first.
Mm-hmm.
And so she noticed that. She was very proud of herself. I said, yeah, but it wasn't. Those aren't my brakes. There's Brembos on there. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
An exhaust. So yeah, it's basically the same as my Camry, and it's now live in the OG store if you want to get one.
AC blows cold.
The AC does blow cold. It's still running. I saw it last weekend.
Who did you sell it to?
We gave it to her nephew, and who lives up there, and he lives down a dirt road.
And he accepted it?
Oh yeah, he was all happy about it.
Oh my gosh!
You should see it now. It's way worse than when I had it.
Oh my gosh!
So, how much for Matt to sign it? Says Alex. He'll gladly do it for free. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have somebody forge it. I can't touch it. I haven't touched that thing.
AKA Slamry that's what Bryce called it. So
how many of these did we make? I hope we didn't make a lot of them.
I think only like 150.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a sunk cost here.
No, there are 10 in the store, so
we'll be giving them away for free with every purchase.
If we sell all 10, we'll give more. But there are 10, and the Sapphire was the most popular illustration prior to this one. We sold 67 of those, so we'll keep an eye on that.
I want that Obsessed Garage taken off of that bottom there. I did not condone that.
Russell wants to know, did you take the Volks and Brembos off before you gave it away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took off all the aftermarket parts like Matt does and sold them. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
All right, people. Back to Milwaukee. Back to Heartland. Heartland in Milwaukee. I'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see you next week. We should be here.
Little Debbie's next week.
Yeah, maybe. See you soon.